Hey everybody, welcome back to the Flat Thunder channel. My name's Andy and this is the never-ending basement project. Most recently we finished off the ceiling. Now we need to focus our attention onto the floor. I had to do some leveling in here because the floor was uneven, wavy, and just a really poorly finished floor. We didn't come up with the ideal solution, but I do believe we came up with a solution that will work. There was a floor drain and that was sunk down probably almost 2 inches from the main floor, and there was some kind of grade to it. It wasn't a regular grade. The wall over there dipped in the middle, not so even-ish. It came back up here. It dipped away from the room, away from the drain, not the way it's supposed to, out the door. So this was low, and then this was low, low, low spot there. So we laid down a nice mortar bed, and then with my makeshift screed here, we just screeded it off and basically slid it on the neighboring floor to get a semi-level surface. After leveling this out and screeding it out this way, we got a spot here where it dipped low going out the door, and then working kind of radially away from the drain. We came back in with some thin set style mortar that's used to adhere tile, and then smooth the edges. What I found is you couldn't really go complete 100% zero taper with a thin set mortar. Worked perfect for the thicker places that needed a lot more material, but when you needed to come back down to zero, like in these areas here on the edges, right where the edge of the thicker mortar ended, I needed something a little more robust that could stand being a smaller thickness. And the thin set mortar worked well. We also have a few spots where there's just kind of like a small divot, and we smeared some thin set on that. Tried to finish this just like, kind of like a drywall joint, because this floor is not level at this point, but we're just trying to accommodate any of the disjoints where you have two surfaces that are misaligned, kind of make it a smoother taper away so you don't have any massive steps. This is a laminate flooring that was selected. It's a plank flooring snapped together. So let's get after it. So it's very critical in installing this laminate style flooring. This stuff will grow, flex, shrink, etc. So you want to make sure you leave a gap. Basically a gap such that your trim board will cover it. What we're looking for here is, I don't know, less than ½ inch, 3/8 to ¼ inch gap on all sides. Now it's just a matter of snapping it all together. Due to differences in colors and patterns on the planks, I find it best to lay them out so you can kind of pick and choose. For instance, on this particular piece, the first piece, you have a knot kind of here, and to end with a flat pattern that's just a straight across finish with nothing would look weird. I believe this is the piece we pulled out first, so we're going to want to do something maybe like this, so there's a knot there, so it kind of looks like the knot extends. That's just personal preference, but I mean, you can do it however you want. So we got our first run laid down here, basically one full piece, second full piece, and then the third piece needed cut for length. This is how you get started. You take the piece that you cut off of that first piece, and you go back over here and you start your second row or second course. I get into showing exactly how that you attach these pieces in the next couple steps, but right now what you really want to focus on is making sure you have your alignment with the main part of your room, whatever it may be. In this instance, we're working off of this wall, and then we're going to work this way. So what we're going to do is we have some little spacer things if we can find them. If we can't, we'll make our own spacers. and run a space in between the wall and the first row. That way when we're pounding on it and installing the next few pieces, we don't shift this thing out of alignment. These little wedge things that are specifically meant for this, they got little teeth on them, and when you slide them together they lock in place. So stick one in there, stick the second one in there. Boom. There you go. Now our gap is set, and when we're pounding and shoving on it, it's not going to get any closer to the wall. Should be good to go. Next piece, we got it tilted at an angle, latch it into the side of the first plank, slide it over to the neighboring plank, and then you got to kind of lift this one a little bit and slide it underneath. Create a nice little pop. Making sure they're all jointed together. Fold it down. Stand on the neighboring piece because it wants to lift it up. And then we're going to lightly tap our joint. That locks these two pieces together. We'll work our way down this, making sure it's all tight against the neighboring plank. So we've got a little bit of a gap down here. Need to go over a little bit. And then one thing I like about these boards is they're rather generous because you have to have clearance around everything. So we need to notch this roughly here-ish to clear that piece. We'll go that way plus a little. And then down here we have to notch roughly there. And then we're going to go all the way over to about there. So this is going to look something like so. Made a wrong mark previously, but this is all going to go away, and we're going to be about 2 1/4, so right around in that area. I'm going to go old-fashioned on the square cuts with the handsaw here. Supposedly you can score this and break them. It worked. I was skeptical. Put just a little line, if you can see that there. Not to scribe a line all the way across it. You hold it up against the fence and you know it's square. Square cuts are really important. Make sure your pieces all line up. Like that would be bad right there. Critical thing to keep in mind is you want to make sure the edges are always the same. That way you can reuse as many pieces as possible. If you start mismatching these, then you'll get a spot where you won't connect. i.e. you'll get a square edge where you need a joint connection. So we're cooking along here. Let's talk a little bit about how these pieces join. This piece here is already laid. This is the new piece we're putting in. And basically it's a real simple procedure. You have to tilt it up at an angle, hook it on this edge, and then slide it under. What becomes a little bit difficult is you'll slide this piece if you're not careful, because you have to raise this one to get these tabs to interlock. So let's see if I can illustrate this for you. So we got our piece here. I'm going to step away from the neighboring piece. And then get it in the groove. It has to be up at an angle to lock in here. But to get this gap to engage, you have to have them both at an angle. Just slide it over. So they're over top of each other and all good here. Hold them down. What you're looking for here is you don't want any gap. You can feel we knocked the piece out a little bit over that way, so once we get it back in, that'll go away. But everything's locked in here. We just need to make sure this piece is locked in this way on the other end, and then we can just keep on moving on. Just some things to keep in mind here. This piece is a full length piece, is getting ready to install it. Everything looked good, but right out of the box, this end is broken. Are you focusing on that? So this locking tab, it would have latched in, but really it's losing its ability to solidly secure that. It's just kind of held on with the foam at this point. That was just from being damaged in the box. So what we're going to do, we're going to nip this piece off and use this as a starter, because you don't need it on the starter piece. Last small piece, we got to cut it a taper to match the wall. We already got it cut to length. We need to scribe our taper on there. I'm going to cut this upside down because I'm using a circular saw that has an upcut. So you cut it the other way on this side, it'll peel your surface. slings these little plastic dingleberries all over the place. Not really my preferred method of cutting, but it leaves a nice clean edge, and it's faster than hand sawing or oscillating tool it, but you could do it either way. Or even score it and then break it. Huh, didn't see you guys there. This floor looks really nice. I'm really excited to make some headway on this project. Finally getting to the point where all we need is some trim, maybe some decorations. We're going to put a decorative mirror over the utility panel there. And yeah, we can almost mark this project as 100% complete. Having the floor makes a huge difference. It looks way nicer in here. Thanks for watching, everyone. I like it. I like it. This is so nice. So much nicer than it was before. If you're thinking about doing a laminate flooring, don't be intimidated. I think you can do it. It's not that difficult of a project. This whole thing only took a couple hours.